Swat Kats was an animated series that lasted from 1993 to 1995. Taking place in a fictional world where people are half human and half cat, the Swat Kats, spelled with a K like Mortal Kombat, are two vigilante pilots that protect Mega Cat City. I wonder if they're fans of 21 Pilots. T-Bone, who is a hotshot pilot, and Razor, who controls and fires weapons from the back. They have their own villains that walk a fine line between originality and borderline plagiarism. Dark Cat is very much like Dr. Doom, but more like him than how he's been shown in mainstream movies. Also, his voice is pretty cool.
Because I want a big ceremony where these two personally turn Mega Cat City over to me.
Dr. Viper was a weird mix between Poison Ivy with the whole plant thing and the lizard. The Metallicats were an interesting duo, and they were sorta like Bonnie and Clyde if they were Terminators, but still would be a better story than this one. An underrated villain in my book was Hard Drive. He was a villain who had electrical powers while being able to manipulate technology. He's more like Electro than the one we got in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Now it's time for me to light my candles!
The side characters were interesting. A helper of the Swat Kats was Callie Briggs.
Did you hear that? She's crazy about me.
Bye, Jake.
She was a mix of a competent informant to the Swat Kats, while also being a damsel in distress while the Swat Kats came to the rescue.
Enough!
She was an assistant to Mayor Manx, who is sort of an imbecile of a mayor,
This is Mayor Manx! Help!
but still more competent than this guy. The biggest critic of the Swat Kats was Commander Farrell.
All I see is one burnt-out lab and two vigilantes.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, Farrell, it's the truth.
This is Farrell. Bring me Chopper backup.
This show was very action-packed. It would seem like a show that Michael Bay would have done. This is how I would imagine his pitch for the show would have been. Okay, here's my show idea. You know that Cats musical, but minus the dumb singing? Instead, we got these two jet pilots that protect the city from the bad guys. We'll name them T-Bone and Razor because that's rad, as they say now. There would be a lot of explosions, fast-paced action, and a helper of them that would be sort of a knockout, but not in a disgusting furry sense. Let's get Linkin Park to do the soundtrack. Oh wait, this is the early 90s, they don't exist yet. I'll do this until I get convinced to make a bunch of toy movies. One thing that I liked about the show was the two leads were mechanics. One is that it explains how and where they got the technology to make such a jet, but it also makes them seem like common folk so they can be more relatable to the average person.
Growls like a tiger. Blows like a volcano.
One problem that I had with the show was that the puns can be a bit too lowbrow.
Hey, what are you, Jack? A scaredy cat? Guy looks like he hasn't hit the litter box in a week.
Cat's alive! Those were the best pilots I had.
In addition, when they got to season 2, I was not the biggest fan of the change of animation being more angular. Why do a lot of shows have this in common? The show was very strong in its first 2 seasons until... So why was that? Well, there are 2 reasons. The most well-known fact was that Ted Turner didn't like the amount of violence in the show, canceled the show. I personally blame the spineless act on his then-wife and succubus at the time, Jane Fonda.
Raider!
Another was stated by the creators of the show.
So the show was launched on kind of a soft launch. They launched the show, there was no marketing, not much, there was no licensing and merchandising. But then what happened is that the show kicked in. We had tremendous rating. But it was just, for Turner, it was just too late because they were financing the whole show, but the revenues were not coming in.
But it might come back. You heard right. The creators of the show still have the rights to it, but they have also made a Kickstarter campaign to bring the show back to life. If they raise enough money, they might make a Swat Kats movie. I hope the best for them and for this really solid show to come back. I give SWAT Kats 4 stars out of 5. So anyway, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe.
High explosive detonators?
Placed at strategic support points throughout the ground floor.
This building was rigged to blow!
Exactly. Somebody deliberately wants to make the SWAT Kats look bad.
Oh my god!